Lamide.
Hi, hi.
Hi,
Hey, guys.
everyone.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode.
Welcome back to Adult Puzzle Podcast. I hope you guys have listened to the first episode on About Us, and I hope you're having a nice time so far. Lamide, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm excited. I'm excited. It's a new episode. It's new juice, new tea, new vibes.
New vibes. Okay, so let's get right
I'm so
into it.
happy. I'm so happy. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. So, this episode is going to be a very, very, very high level episode on adulting. Of course, throughout the journey of this podcast, we're going to be having conversations around navigating adulting. But in this episode, we're actually going to focus on just like what in the hell we thought adulting was going to be
hmm
and what we're experiencing now.
Right.
Yeah,
Definitely. Definitely. I agree. I agree 100%. And let's dive into it.
let's dive into
Um,
it.
yeah.
Do you want me to take it away or do you want to?
Yeah, please do. I feel like you already have a burning question for me, so just shoot. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So, first question I have for you is what does adulting mean to you, Lamide?
Trial and error.
Okay.
Trial and error. I made up my mind a long time ago that there's no manual to it. So
Great.
I would just say
Excellent.
it's a whole lot of trial and error. Because even when I used to think that there's a certain way that is there are fundamentals, right? But because people are different, those fundamentals are not necessarily correct for every single person. So I would say adulting is trial and error. And one thing is you want to do what works best for you and make sure you don't do anything legally wrong and you don't do anything morally wrong in the process. But adulting is unique to different individuals and it's just a whole bunch of trial and error, in my opinion. Simply
Yeah.
put, how would
Okay.
you, what do you reckon? How would you say that works for you?
I definitely agree with you in terms of trial and error. I think it's not a one size fit all. So you kind of have to figure out, like, okay, what size am I going to fit today? But I do think adulting, in my opinion, is having more accountability for your actions. So, as an adult, whatever that may be for each individual, I don't think adulting is tied to a specific age. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's just more so when you reach a point in your life where your decisions are your responsibility and the actions that you make, there are repercussions for them, whether good or bad. And it's really just taking ownership of that. And having,
Definitely.
yeah, and having just like another level of freedom that
Mm-hmm.
you didn't necessarily have when you were under dependent on like parents or family or whatever the case may be.
Can I even add one thing?
Yeah.
I think adulting is responsibility.
Yeah.
Just as you said,
Yes.
accountability, right? I'm just thinking
Yeah.
to myself, that word is responsibility. Like, huh, oh my God.
Yeah.
Adulting, a synonym for adulting should be like bills, I think. A good synonym for
Bills.
adulting should be like bills, and that should be passed in English language, like a synonym for adulting, bills, right?
Bills.
So, yeah,
What are you
basically.
doing, Bills?
Bills, 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 bills.
Okay, I actually have more definitions though, from my
Please
opinion.
go ahead. Please do
Um,
share.
I feel like adulting for me, in a sense, also means being lost a little bit.
Hmm.
But it's not like the type of loss where you can't find your bearing. I mean, sometimes you do lose your bearing, but it's lost in the sense of like you just have to keep going. And at some point, you figure out, like, oh, I think I got out of that. You know, that phrase, we'll cross that bridge when we get there?
Yep.
adulting is realizing like, oh wait a minute, I'm at that bridge. Like, okay,
Send me a lifeboat. Send me a lifeboat. I don't see any life
right?
jackets around.
Yeah. It's like, wait a minute, that bridge though that I've been saying I'll cross, like, is here right now. So there's an element of just feeling just a little bit lost and not necessarily having a clear path, but
You know
that's
what's
all part of
funny?
it.
That
Yeah.
bridge, when
Mm-hmm.
we were a lot younger, which I'm sure we'll
Mm-hmm.
talk about later, but that bridge when we were a lot younger must look or sound like, in our heads at least, like, let's say, the Golden Bridge or something, or
Mm-hmm.
like Third Mainland for those of us who live in Lagos, Nigeria.
Yeah.
But that bridge, in all honesty, is like those bridges. What do they call those bridges at the zoo where they shake and sometimes have like broken steps in between? What's that bridge called? It's like in the zoo, popular in the zoos. Like the bridge literally shakes. Like it's made of wood and it's in the middle of nowhere
Like
and
obstacle
people get
courses?
on. No, it's not an obstacle course. You know those like little bridges in movies that like link one end to another, but what's holding the bridge is basically like a rope. That bridge is called something. I don't know. But yeah,
Zip line?
it's something.
I don't know why activities are just coming to my head.
Lord, zip lining.
Imagine it's like, oh, I want to just zip
Imagine if,
line through this problem.
yo, maybe that's even a better. Maybe that's a better. maybe that's a better word. You're expecting a bridge and you just get there. It's like a zip line. It's like if you die, you die. But yeah,
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that was pretty good. I have more questions for you.
please
So,
shoot. Yeah.
um, at a younger age,
Mhm.
what did you envision being older or being an adult would look like?
Um, to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
I expected a lot of independence in making decisions, so I kind of knew that early.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt, and maybe I was being naive, that life will deal me the cards based on what I've given life. So I thought life would be fair to me because I had been fair to life. I don't know if that makes sense. So I expected adulting to be fair. Does that make sense? I
Mm,
expected growing up to be fair. But
yeah.
what you get to realize is sometimes, maybe not sometimes, most of the time, life
Yeah.
isn't fair. So
Yeah.
that was a huge realization for me. And again, this goes back to early. I'm naturally a nice person. I know
Yeah.
people say that a lot, but it is my reality. And
Mr. Nice
um,
Guy. Okay, oh,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah, maybe to a fault, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And that mentality,
Mm-hmm.
if we're being true to ourselves, does not carry you far or
Mm-hmm.
does not get you to the A class life status that everyone probably wants as an adult. Sometimes you need to be cutthroat.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you need to be not nice, if you get what I mean. You don't have to be
Mm-hmm.
mean, but you have to be firm. Maybe firm is a better word. So yeah, that was a
Yeah.
huge realization for me. I felt like, simply put, life is a lot. One of shot. I would let you share yours, then maybe pick it back up again and share another one. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, life isn't fair,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's not just, yeah, life isn't fair.
So you would
Simple.
say, like, at a younger age, you thought, like, oh, life would be fair. Basically, you give what you
Yeah,
get to kind of
yeah,
get what you give. Yeah.
naively so,
Yeah.
naively so, naively so.
um,
And
Sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead. You were about to say something.
Yeah, I think for me, you went deep, honestly, at a
Hmm.
younger age. And okay, I
Hmm.
had different phases in my life, let me say that. And let me group them. So I would say about 13 ish,
Hmm.
when I was going through that phase of like, oh, I hate my parents' rules, not hate, but like I don't want to be under rules. I want to do whatever I want to do. I want to have money. At the time, my assumption or what I envisioned being older would look like was just like
Mm-hmm.
money and spending on whatever I wanted to spend on and
Mm-hmm.
traveling and doing whatever the hell I wanted to do. So I didn't have any idea of, okay, for you to do certain things, you have to have like certain things. So for you to travel, you have to have money. For you to have money, you have to work. Like that connection
What
hadn't
did you
settled
think?
in
What
my
did you
brain.
think?
I don't
What did you
know.
think you're gonna spend? What did you
I
think?
don't know.
But would you be like, KLM, I love you guys so much. Could I please get on your flight to Costa Rica? And I'm like, the fuck? They'll be like,
No,
okay, where's your ticket?
I mean, it was 13, so I'll cut myself some slack. But like
Yeah,
at that
definitely.
point in my life, I literally had no idea to reality. It was more so like, oh, this is what I want right now. And in
Mm.
my head, it's like, oh, I see adults doing it. So I want to be an adult so
Mm-hmm.
I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was 13.
Yeah.
16 to about maybe like 20. That's when like the reality of life started to hit some
Scary
more.
ages, man. Scary
Yeah.
ages. That
However,
group? Yeah, go
mhm,
ahead.
yeah. However, between 16 and 18, I would say that for some weird reason, it shifted more so to very much like, oh, okay, I think when I'm older, I want to be like married. I want to have kids. I want to have more control of my time because at the time, my time was just being slotted out to like school and homework and basically whatever the hell my schedule said I should be doing, not necessarily whatever I wanted to do. So
Mm.
at that point, I was also envisioning like when I get older, I just want to be in control of my time, of my life, and things like that.
Mm.
And then I would say 22 down, which is where I'm at right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of been like real world, like, okay, I'm in this adulting mess. So reality has slapped me. So I don't really have much expectations anymore.
Curveball. Did you ever
Hmm.
imagine? Because you mentioned wedding somewhere there for the
Hmm.
16 to 20 period.
Yeah.
Did you ever imagine yourself in a wedding dress, dream about the wedding day, plan everything out? Were you that kind of girl? Did you
It's
ever?
interesting because no, I've never really
I
like
was gonna
planned
say the
out.
Lade. I know. I don't think you're spending that much time
No, I don't think
planning out all that.
no, I don't think I've planned out my wedding in my head. I actually don't. One thing I will say is that I have had like ideas of what I want my spouse and I, the type of life I want my spouse and I to live in the
Hmm.
future. That whole wedding period, it hasn't really like settled yet in my head.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned some really, really, really valid and
Hmm.
interesting points. To be honest with you, because I mean, at a young age or at younger ages, I agree with you
Hmm.
completely. Thinking of the future
Hmm.
seemed so easy to your point, right?
Yeah.
So you're probably thinking of like, of course you want to have a car, of course you want to have a house, of
Yeah.
course, but maybe you know how like different jobs or different yeah different jobs affords you a different kind of lifestyle.
Yeah.
I think we all thought, uh, again naively,
Hmm.
a teacher, an engineer, a doctor, an honorable teacher, an honorable engineer, an honorable doctor, an honorable entertainer should be able to have access to the same lifestyle. But the sad reality is the visions are different even as early as you choosing a path to pursuing life. If you get what I mean. Like
Hmm.
I think I don't want to get too deep, but it is what it is, right? Even from the choices we make from early on
Yeah.
as to whether what job we want to do or whatever kind of, I don't know, writes our future. So yeah, it is what it is, I guess. But shout outs to we dreamers. At least we dreamt, and some of
Yeah.
us are still pursuing our dreams. If you're out
Yeah.
there, please follow your dreams.
Please
Please
follow
do.
your dreams and don't stop dreaming because I think, as much
Very good point.
as, yeah, right, like life is not going to deal you what you always want. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm a very big believer of you also want to be in control of how life
Mm,
directs you. I think, yes, to some extent, a lot of things are out of our control, but you getting up and putting in work is going to open doors for you that may
mm,
not have opened if you did not put the effort in or if you didn't have the dreams and the push to keep yourself going. So don't stop dreaming. Don't stop like riding through whatever it is that you're going through because that's also important to keep advancing yourself in whatever direction.
Speaking of that, so
Hmm.
can you describe the expectations yourself, the expectations you had for yourself when you were younger versus
Mm,
now that, because you had even mentioned that earlier, right? So versus
yeah.
now that the reality is like, can you describe what that is like for you?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
your expectation for yourself when you were younger and the reality so far.
Yeah. And the reason why I'm laughing is because as much as I've grown as an individual,
Mm-hmm.
I think some things are are just very typical of my day. Okay, so my first expectation
Mm-hmm.
versus it's kind of like expectation versus reality. I
Mm-hmm.
thought that especially in my 20s,
Mm-hmm.
I thought that I would have lived in multiple different countries at the age of like
Mm,
25, 26, 27. To be fair, I'm not
yeah.
25 yet, but it's literally soon.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought like, oh, I would have had a Europe period for a few years. I would have had like an
Mm-hmm.
Australia period. I would have gone back to Nigeria or Ghana or somewhere. So that was
Mm-hmm.
definitely a high expectation where I wanted to see the world some more. And I do travel, but it hasn't been up to what I expected. That's one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the second thing is around owning my own business. So I'm very, very entrepreneurial minded. And I think,
I know
entrepreneurship is not
that's
for
right.
everyone. Yeah, it's not for everyone. But I do think that, like, the idea of creating something from nothing and, going through the ups, the downs, solving problems, addressing like white space, all of that, like, that just calls my name. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought I was going to be able to have my business or something around the
Mm-hmm.
age of mid 20s. That
Mm-hmm.
hasn't happened yet. Like I said, again, I'm still not there, but that was an expectation. And reality is, very deep into corporate America. I'm
Mm-hmm.
in no means starting my business just yet. And then the
I mean, but
last one,
soon,
mhm,
soon. I mean, you're
yeah,
definitely gonna get there. Yeah,
absolutely. And I
because you
think this
put in
goes,
so much work in.
yeah, by God's grace. Absolutely. And this goes back to what I was saying about dreaming is like, as much as, these are the expectations I have of myself, and I'm not there yet, I haven't stopped dreaming because I'm still
Mm-hmm.
working towards it subconsciously and even sometimes consciously, like making the right steps that are propelling me towards that goal that I want to go to.
Mm-hmm.
The last one is around just like relationships and friendships. And this is
Mm-hmm.
not even a bad thing. This is just, I think most people go through this. But I remember my group of friends back in like high school, how super
Mm-hmm.
tight we were. And at the time, it's like my expectation was like, oh, yeah, like this relationship is going to be the same and stronger as we
Mm-hmm.
like grow up. But the reality is like, not saying I've fallen out with those people. I absolutely have not, but it's not the same. Like, I've evolved and we've all shifted into different parts of our lives, different parts of the world. And those relationships and friendships are not as strong as they used to be. And I think
Mm-hmm.
now the reality is like understanding that, yeah, friendships in terms of like intensity, like how deep of a friendship you have or
Mm-hmm.
how much you check in with each other, it comes in waves and it's not always going to be the same as you
Mm-hmm.
grow older. And I think even now, like my friends right now are my solid rock, but I do know that, I don't know, when we get into our 30s, 40s, we might not have the same type of relationship that we do now. So that for sure, I had the expectation that, yeah, no matter what, we're always going to be the same, da, 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 da. And then reality is like, yeah, no.
Mm-hmm.
But Yeah, that's mine. I'm curious to know
Very,
yours.
very, very. In fact, I think again, I think we're so in tune with one another because your third point, what you just said
Mm-hmm.
now, is my first. So
Mm-hmm.
I I hardly make friends because I do a lot of screening in my head before I can call someone my friend. But
Yeah.
again, I would say when I was younger,
Mm-hmm.
you hear this phrase 20 friends can't play for 20 years. But
Oh, I haven't heard that before. Hmm.
oh yeah, that's a popular saying, like say 20 friends can't play for 20 years. So that
Can't
just
or can?
can't.
Okay. 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 Yeah.
So you're saying like I'm guessing the whole point is over time
Mm-hmm.
things happen. Like
Yeah.
life is weird, right? So that time frame doesn't guarantee the collective group staying together or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I definitely have lost a lot of friendships.
Yeah.
So many. I mean, sometimes it could be because I don't, maybe goals change, right? So or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, or someone is moving, or it could be anything, or death.
Yeah.
So that happened. So friendships I really thought I would have for eternity. I don't think I
Mm-hmm.
have them anymore. So that's one.
Mm-hmm.
Two, this is more on the funny side, but I did think I was gonna be like the biggest rapper in the world, like at one point in my life.
Why do most guys go through that phase? Literally, I
Yo,
don't think I've met one guy that hasn't gone through like a music. I'm working on a EP.
again, I have to I have to tell you, these dreams Lola did were legit. I'm telling you, I had my group of friends that would
Of
write music
course.
together. I would perform in school. Like in my head, this was solidified. I was gonna become the next Jay-Z. I was
Yeah.
gonna become the next, for Africans, the next MI, stuff
Hmm.
like that. Like in my head, it was done. I was good. Until
You
my
have to
father
rap
saw
for me
me.
though.
I will one of these days. I will. I will. Until my pops heard I was on TV one day and shut that entire shit down. So yeah.
Wait, what?
Uh
Tell me the
yo.
story. What happened?
So yeah, over time I became popular in school. I was known for being one of the best songwriters in
Mm-mm.
school. And up to the point where I would write for schools. I'll write for my house. On this, we had this day called Founders Day, where
Mm-hmm.
all the different houses would go on stage and like represent, like representations of different houses would go on stage and perform. So on that particular day, of course, I had met with a group of friends from my house. We had come up with a song that I wrote along with my other friends, and we're performing. Unknown to me, they were streaming us live on TV. So yeah, of course, an auntie in the audience is enjoying it. So I don't know whether she was trying to snitch or she was enjoying the
Mm-hmm.
performance. All I know is she calls my mom and says, "Oh my God, Lamide is on TV right now. He's doing so well. The crowd is shouting, whatever." And of course, my mom had to be on the dining table with my dad at that point in time, and the phone was on speaker. And the lady goes, "Lamide is." Oh, of course, my mom is like, "So what's he doing on TV?" And she's like, "Lamide is rapping." And my dad chokes on his food and it's like ra what? Like he couldn't grasp the whole concept of him paying for school for me to
School
study.
fees.
School
I am going
fees.
to rap.
And I'm
Excuse
going to
you.
rap.
Who do
Like
you think you are? In
he
an
felt I
African
was so
home.
he felt I was so confident in such a in his mind reckless decision. So
Hmm.
yeah, he wasn't having any of it. And
Oh, wow.
I
That's
mean,
funny.
yeah, but anywho, I was supposed to be the coolest rapper in the world, but here we are
Hmm.
in grad school.
Hmm.
Um, although, anyway, later on, I don't think my entertainment days are over. I think I
I
have
don't
some.
think they are.
Yeah, yeah. So, the third thing I can say is I thought by now I would be, and this is kind of very touching and personal. I thought by now I'll have been dropping stacks for my parents, like,
Mm,
you know, just taking care of everything. Like,
mm,
but if I'm being honest, I'm not there yet. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
And yeah, I thought very early on in my career or very early on in my adulthood life, I would have
mm.
done, maybe it's too much pressure on myself, but yeah, I just felt I would have been doing so much. I'd have told my mom, like, yo, where do you want to go for your birthday? Okay, I got you two tickets. You and your best friend can go, whatever. Or mom, I'm in the Chanel store. What do you want? I'm going to, send it over to the house. I'm not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
So it is strange, but I think soon enough, right? So
Yeah.
if
Can
I'm
I
being honest,
actually? Yeah, go
yeah.
ahead.
No, I'm just saying if I'm being honest with myself, that's actually very true. I thought I would be so independent and so,
Yeah.
get in the bag that I'll be able to do that for my mom right now. But that is not the case. But yeah.
Yeah. I kind of want to touch on that because that just sparked like new thoughts in my head.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is when I was younger, I mean, I'm the last child, so to some extent, I grew up being catered for. And this is not even to sound bratty or anything, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any younger siblings. I do have cousins who I definitely feel it's my responsibility to take care of them. Even my siblings do, like now. But when
Yeah.
I was younger, I didn't really have that responsibility of me on me to take care of anyone. But I would say, especially, working now and kind of like growing my career and all of that,
Mm-hmm.
there's been a switch in my head where nowadays, like, I start to think about, oh, wait a minute, like, how do I support my family? And even long term, like, okay, I want to make sure that,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, like mommy and daddy are doing great, they're working, da, 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 but at some point they're not going to be as active. Like, god forbid that's not happening anytime
Yeah.
soon. But
Yeah.
I think that also comes with like adulting, because in for me, for sure, you know how you said that was uh like an expectation that you had for yourself when you were younger. I for sure
Mm-hmm.
did not have that expectation of like, oh, I'm going to be taking care of my parents. Just
Mm-hmm.
flat out honesty. Maybe that was me being
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
selfish. But
Fair
now,
enough. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Now it's like, oh, wait a minute. Like, this is something that I want to do, and I expect to like do it even more as I continue to get older. And not just for my parents, like for my siblings. I mean, everyone takes care of it themselves, but like even my brother's kid, my cousins, my younger cousins, it's like, oh, it's not just about me anymore. It's me helping my support
I love that
system.
you even, yeah, I love that you broke that down into so much detail because, again, the reason why those thoughts were legit for me early
Mm-hmm.
is because, yeah, I'm first on both sides
Yeah.
and I'm an only child. So the pressure for me was early. Maybe it was
Mm-hmm.
self inflicted pressure first, and by observing around you, like so many cousins, so many nieces, you're the first. There's just a sense of responsibility, and maybe we'll touch on that in a future episode.
Yeah. I was gonna say that.
But there was just a sense of responsibility that I, of course, maybe have put on myself, and my environment had put on me from early on. But yeah, that was something that I felt, yeah, from early I needed to do. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a really good point, though. And we don't have to go into these details because I think this is a whole different topic. But there
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
different levels of pressure that comes with the order
Oh
of your
my god.
birth. It's like
Have
how
you
you popped out. It depends
have you
on,
heard have you have you heard of the phrase called black tax before?
no, what is that?
Oh my god. You know how, simply put, you
Mm-hmm.
know how there are people, I don't want to say family, but I think that's the sweetest word I can use for this explanation right now. So you
Mm-hmm.
know how there's an entitlement, quote unquote, of family to what you have when you so called make it in whatever
Mm-hmm.
profession or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And these are people that maybe some of them contributed, maybe some
Mm-hmm.
of them didn't contribute. For those that didn't contribute, theirs is pathetic. But for those that did contribute,
Yeah.
I think they see it as a pass to keep collecting. Like the check never runs out for them, if you get what I mean. So
Yeah.
you know how maybe I contributed. We go out for dinner, and my
Hmm.
contribution is $20. And during dinner, I'm ordering lobster, I'm ordering crab legs, I'm ordering, oysters, the whole platter. And you're like, in your head, of course, maybe you might not complain openly, but in your head, you're like, bitch, why are you ordering like you have a black card on standby or something? So yeah, simply put, black tax.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
actually
but
interesting. But I get what that is. It's like I have rights to your earnings because I put
you
in
know what
a
I
little bit.
mean? So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's
yeah,
interesting. Okay.
yeah.
So we're, I think, getting close to the end. So let's do a few like fire rounds. Um Question for you.
Hmm.
What would you say is, and you can list a few things, it doesn't have to be one thing, but let's
Hmm.
start with the not so great and then we go to the good. But what would you say is the biggest disadvantage or downfall so far of being an adult?
Hmm. Hmm. Bills,
Oh my gosh, I agree. I
bills,
agree. Can I say
like
mine? Because
please
it's
do.
this it's literally similar. So mine is when it dawned on me the true value of money.
Yo,
Like how many
oh
hours it
my
takes
god,
you
oh
to
my
earn
god.
something. Yeah, because as a child, it's just like, oh, mommy's doing this, mommy's paying for this,
Do
daddy's
you
paying for this.
understand?
Yeah,
Literally, when we saw money back then, it's like, yo, all you had to do is go into an hours, enjoy AC, you get a paycheck, fat ass
wait,
check,
I have a
and
funny story.
share, please.
I have a funny story. Mom, dad, I'm sorry. So when I was younger,
Hmm.
um, we would go to my grandpa's church. And I remember my
Hmm.
dad would give like either my dad or my mom, he would give us all offering to
Hmm.
put down in the children's church. However, after church, there was this like ice cream place that I loved so much. And typically,
Hmm.
sometimes my mom would give me money, sometimes she wouldn't. It just depended on like how good I was or whatever the situation was.
Hmm.
However, for like the last few weeks, she hadn't been giving me money. So I basically said that I wasn't going to put down my offering. I was going to use the offering
Oh
for some
my
nice
god,
ice cream after.
ice cream.
But then after church, I can't
Hmm.
remember what happened. I think my mom, because usually they would go for like their meeting. If any Nigerian person here knows, after church, you're not going
Yo,
home. You stay
nope,
there for a
nope.
few hours,
At least an hour, 30 minutes.
literally at least,
Good woman, good women's meeting. Excellent men,
right?
patriotic men, something.
Community gathering, like everything.
Yo.
So that Sunday, for some weird reason,
Hmm.
we went home like straight away. My mom and dad like came
Hmm.
to pick me from whatever, and we went home straight away. So I didn't even have that hour and a half buffer to go buy the ice cream, quickly eat it before my parents found out.
Hmm.
So anywho, I got home and I still had the offering in my purse, and I swore like I was so nervous because I thought like God was coming to get me because at the back of my head, I knew what I had done was bad. Lamide, and
Hmm.
it was like, let me say a thousand naira, and this was way back when I was
Hmm.
uh, maybe 11 or 12.
Hmm.
So like that's to show you minus the inflation now, like that was
I
that
understand. That's
valued
huge.
more.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what I
Hmm.
did was I got home because I couldn't live with myself. I basically cut the thousand
Oh my
naira
god.
into pieces and I
Pieces.
flushed it
Oh my
down the toilet. And
god.
and now that I think about it, the reason why I did that was because I had no
No
idea for
idea
the
of the
value of
value.
that shit. I just knew, oh, this got me ice cream. I couldn't get ice cream, so was
Yep,
this worth
yep,
nothing?
yep, yep. Oh my god, oh my god. I understand how and why you came to that decision. Because how could you possibly know? Like
No.
in your eye, it was offering that you were supposed to donate,
Mhm.
and yeah, another one will come next week. But
Next
because you were not
week,
able to use it for your intended purpose, which was ice cream, you just felt like nobody needs to find this money with me,
find
that kind of
out,
thing.
right? I could
So,
have saved it. I could have hid it.
yo,
Nothing. Yeah, but that just reminded me.
that's a great point. Yo, the value of money.
Yeah.
And again, bills. I don't know. It's ridiculous. Like I don't know who came up with the concept of bills.
Let
If
me.
this world is supposed to be built on love, why can't they just be like, yo,
Did you say love? Who love help?
you know what I'm saying? Like it's supposed to be like one love, one world.
I mean,
Why
you're
can't
gonna
you
kill
be
me.
like, I
Stop.
have a condo, I have a condo, I have a condo in Manhattan, and I love you so much. Why don't you have it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Guys, Lamide is
nobody's
not being
coming to.
serious right now. He's not.
You're saying I have to work, like, and pay you every month, and yo, you know what?
Uh,
You know what's funny?
what?
How people now come up with different ways of billing you. So it's not enough that I've paid for the house. You
Mm-hmm.
have to charge me for light, electricity.
Mm-hmm.
You have to charge me for water, sewage. You have to charge me for disposal. You have to charge. Yo, bills are the
Yeah.
are
No,
the
I
worst
feel
thing.
that. No, but
Yo,
in all seriousness, though, I mean, there's a reason why we pay certain things, but I do get your point. Like, why? Why?
y'all don't mind me. Pay your bills. I'm just saying I don't like it.
Lamide is not the reason why you're getting overdraft fees, please.
I know the funny thing, at the first of every month or at the end of
Hmm.
every month, when you get that email, it's like,
Hmm.
Lord, why does the ground not swallow me right now? Why?
Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
god.
Funny. Okay. I have the same question, but flipped, right? What's the biggest advantage or benefit so far of being an adult?
Um. Hmm. Why don't you go first? Why don't you go first? Because
Mm,
I might have an interesting angle to that, but let me hear your thoughts first.
okay. I would say my biggest benefits or the biggest advantage I would take from being an adult
Hmm.
is exploration and self discovery. And I think I'm going to caveat this. I think there's different levels of adulting. The phase that I'm in and you're in,
Hmm.
we have
Hmm.
a very high risk profile, and meaning that like we can fuck shit up to a very massive extent and still be able to like
Mm,
bounce back. So right
mm,
now, that's really what I'm enjoying. Just that like
mm.
ultimate exploration, learning, making
That's a
mistakes,
good
getting
point.
back up. Like
That's a very good
I
point.
love that. Versus when you were younger, you kind of had to, well, in my family or in my
Mhm,
household, in African households, you have to conform to the structure that was put there for you,
mhm,
right? School,
mhm,
this. And obviously not everyone did this, but that was what I was exposed to. And I don't think it was a bad thing because that has brought me to where I'm at right now. But
mhm.
now I get to venture out and really explore. So that's one of it. And I think
That's a
the other
beautiful one.
yeah, thank you. The other ones that build on is like freedom, right? Having like my true freedom, my ultimate freedom to be able to do what I want, to be able to figure out like what I don't want and not do those
Mhm,
things and all of
mhm,
that. And then making my own decisions,
mhm,
obviously still reaching out for support from friends, family, all of that. But ultimately,
mhm,
I get to make the shots in my life, especially again the point that I'm in my life where I don't have
mhm.
kids. Yeah, I'll leave it as that. But what
Oh
about
my
you?
god. Oh my god.
Lamide,
They're
you know
coming
what I
for
was gonna say,
you.
but
I
don't
know.
worry.
Oh my god. If you guys knew what she was about to say,
Stop, stop, stop.
I'm shutting my mouth. I'm
Yes,
shutting my mouth.
that's for the best. Okay, what about you?
Yeah, I think your second point was literally what I was going to say. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why I actually deferred to you first, because I was
Yeah,
going to sum mine up as independence.
yeah.
So I find that that's the biggest advantage of adulting or being an adult or where we are now as
Mm-hmm.
individuals is the independence to make decisions, right?
Yeah,
So for me personally, a lot of cultural norms, I love culture so much, but
yeah.
a lot of cultural norms and ideologies that we grew up with, we don't necessarily agree with.
Mm-hmm.
And you must understand that the those norms were generated based on what was available in terms of information
Yeah.
to people back then. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And we grow, we learn, right? And I find out that as an adult, I don't necessarily have to agree with you. You know what I'm saying? So like that
Mm-hmm.
independence, yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's a huge advantage that I don't have to do the same thing you did 5 years ago to
Yeah.
get to where you think, it's possible, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, that independence is, yeah, it's a huge milestone in my opinion. Yeah, a huge
I
advantage. Yeah,
I agree. I absolutely
it's a
agree.
huge advantage.
All
Uh,
right. Yeah.
what would you say? I know it's been a long minute so far, but what would you
Mm-hmm.
say is the biggest lesson you've learned so far? Navigating this whole growing up phase. Like, what's something you can just, or some things you can say that, yo, this speaks to me so much. I learned this lesson growing up. What would you say? What would you say is the biggest
Yeah.
lesson?
So growing up, like thus far, up until the point that I'm in right now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Um, I'll say my biggest lessons from my perspective, and it's what I try to abide by.
Hmm.
But it's short answer: pace yourself. Long
Mm,
answer is pace yourself to match your ultimate potential. Right?
mm,
If you find yourself not stepping up to par to what you can deliver, step up.
mhm,
If you find yourself living above your means to, for whatever reason, step down,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
Make sure you're constantly moving ahead at a pace that you can consistently keep going. And if you need to
mhm,
take a halt for whatever reason, do that. And I
mhm,
think that also feeds into something secondary, which is do not, so pace yourself
mhm,
at your ultimate potential and do not compare yourself to anyone else, because
mm.
something that I've realized just overall,
Big facts.
yeah,
Mhm,
like we're so young, but we've learned quite a few things so far, and even having like mentors or idols or people that you look up to, or even people that like you see their mistakes and you're like, damn, that's crazy. One thing that I've learned is that in this life, everyone's journey is so unique.
mm,
Sometimes we might actually be heading to the same end point, like the same location, but how we're going to
mhm.
get there might be two different ways.
Yep.
Sometimes we might be heading to different directions, but we're
Mhm,
taking the same path. And I
mhm,
think back to my initial statement of pace yourself to match your ultimate potential is do not compare yourself to other people in the
mhm,
sense of like if you know you want to reach a certain point and you
mhm,
have someone who has reached that point or who's going to that point as well, you can use that person as an inspiration or as a guide or as like someone to bounce ideas off of, but don't
mhm,
try and mirror what they're doing and expect the same exact outcome, because that's you can follow
Hmm.
someone's exact journey and not even get to where they're at. It's wild like that. Like life, like you said earlier, is not fair like
Hmm.
that. So
Hmm.
having that understanding is just like a big lesson that I try my best to live my life by. It's like, yo, Lada, your journey is so unique to you.
Hmm.
You're going to learn, you're going to grow, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to fuck shit up, you're going to um, improve. But at the end of the day, just make sure you're pacing yourself and make sure I'm at the best version of myself that I could potentially be at.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. I just want to say, you just, I mean, you guys, she literally said that everything she said is true, basically. And that's just the truth, the basic truth. I wasn't going to say anything anymore because
Well, I think you should.
mine was worded in my head as patience and
Mm-hmm.
understanding that your time would come. But because
Mm-hmm.
you've explained that so well, I'm going to say maybe learning to, how do I word this? Learning to be tolerant, right? I
Mm.
I think if we're a little bit more tolerant of people, like, yeah, you know how everyone is quick to say, I can't stand this person. I can't. If you're a little bit more tolerant as a person, you might find out that maybe the reason why someone behaves a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
isn't isn't just, it's there's more to it than meets the eye. You get what I mean? You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like that. And my second point would be, don't burn bridges. Like, don't be quick to burn bridges.
Mm.
Don't
Facts.
don't be
Heavy
quick to burn.
facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's a small world. You would think six
Yes.
billion people, like you move to a whole nother continent, nobody's touching you, nobody's
Yeah.
in your business, whatever, cool. But like, you never know.
You
You
never
never really
know.
know. So don't be quick to burn bridges, I would say. And Lada and I talk about this personally in our personal lives. The amount of progress we've made, or the amount of good things that have come to us because we didn't do that. The stories are endless, and maybe we share some of these stories moving forward. But yeah,
Mm.
my advice: don't be quick to burn bridges. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
yeah,
I love
that
that. I
that's
actually
that's
do.
yeah.
I do.
That was fun.
That was fun. Thank
That was
you
really, really
for the
fun.
conversation, Lamide. It's always nice
Interesting
talking to you.
conversation.
Yeah.
It is, it is, it is. Thank you guys so much for listening to us. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for taking out time on your run out of your
Hmm.
work to press play. We appreciate it. This is the
Yes.
Adult Puzzle Podcast. We're on all social media platforms too. So we're on Twitter and we're on IG, and watch our videos on YouTube.
Bye.
Bye, and we out.